the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Buckeyes, your daily podcast on the Ohio State Buckeyes. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, Buckeye fans? Welcome back to another episode of Locked On Buckeyes for the Locked On Podcast Network. I'm your host, Jay Stevens, also the host of the Jay Stevens Podcast. It is Thursday, July 22nd in the year 2021. And no matter if you're listening to the audio version of the podcast, or if you're watching us on YouTube, or if you're watching us via WKYC.com, I want to thank you for making Locked On Buckeyes a part of your day. As always, you can follow me on Twitter at JStevens07. You can also follow the podcast on Twitter as well. And Locked On Buckeye lineup for today. And segment number 2, I relay and we go through 5 questions that Jay has for Kevin Warren at Big Ten Media Day. He is the opener of the big event. Segment 3, we continue our look at the QB competition. Today is all about Kyle McCord. But before we get to any of that, I want to remind you to make sure you check out the live NBA Draft show, because NBA Draft GOAT Chad Ford, Locked On NBA Draft host Rafael Barlow, and Locked On NBA host John Corrales will be live this year covering the NBA Draft. It's Locked On NBA Draft 2021, brought to you by Built Bar. Get local expert analysis on each pick. Follow Locked On NBA on YouTube today and watch our live coverage on July 29th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Today is the day many media members inside the Big Ten Football Conference have been waiting for. It's Big Ten Media Days. Not just media members, but I'm sure numerous people listening or watching right now have been waiting for this day for quite a long time. The time when we get talking season, when it gets ramped up in the Big Ten. Like I've mentioned all week long, last week you had the Big 12 Media Days, you've had the SEC Media Days, which in today, you have the ACC Media Days this week. You have numerous, and I say numerous, group of 5 Media Days this week as well. And then I believe next week you have the Pac-12. Then there's a conference, I believe their media days, I think it's August the 4th. But today and tomorrow, our eyes are fixated on the Big Ten Football Conference. And I am excited. My first time attending the Big Ten Media Day. So I'm going to be going in there juiced up, amped up, ready to go. Got all my stuff. I'm just ready to take some notes. Maybe ask a question or two. We're just going to try to see how the day flows, how things go, and get a lot of information out. Take in a lot of information as well, because there's so many things that'll be going on this year at Big Ten Media Days. I hope there is not an incident like what happened with Deion Sanders. There was a writer that works for a paper that the day before this interview, their media day, Deion Sanders' media day availability, there was a paper that had an article that apparently it was something that Deion Sanders wasn't really too fond of. So there was a writer from that paper. The writer calls Deion Sanders the name his mama gave him, called that man Deion. Deion wasn't too happy. Deion said, "You wouldn't call Nick Saban Nick. If you did, he would cuss you out." The writer comes back with, "I'll call Nick Saban Nick." So after that little exchange, the writer comes back, calls Deion Sanders Deion once again. And Deion Sanders, also known as Primetime, walks out. I hope we don't have any type of situation like that at Big Ten Media Days. I hope it's very, very smooth. Now, I do think there'll be a tough question or two that somebody might ask either Kevin Warren. Well, I know Kevin Warren's going to get a ton of questions that are a little tougher on the rougher side. Maybe a coach or two, Jim Harbaugh, maybe. I'm sure people have a lot of questions about him. Today, there are 6 coaches that'll be available today. And they go as follows: PJ Fleck, Minnesota's head coach; Mike Locksley, Maryland's head coach; Scott Frost, Nebraska's head coach; Brett Bielema, Illinois' head coach; James Franklin, Penn State; Pat Fitzgerald, Northwestern; and Jim Harbaugh from the team up north. Each school as well is bringing 3 different student athletes that will be having their own media availability session themselves. They will have their podiums. I've seen a hype video that actually just hit my email shortly before hitting record on this here episode. I watched it. I looked at the whole setup. The setup's on the field. There's a big stage where the podium's going to be for Kevin Warren and the coaches and other people that speak at the media day. There are numerous, and I mean numerous tables set out on the field at the 50-yard line where the normal logo will be, say, for the Big Ten Conference championship game. There is the Big Ten Football Media Day logo right there. And then it seems very much like the way the setup is for the Big Ten, not other schools before the Big Ten. It looks very much like it is your Super Bowl media. I forget exactly what it's called. I think they went away with that a while ago. But you could tell I am excited. I've never been to an event like this. I've never been to a media-only availability event ever in my life. So there's so many things I'm excited about, but I'm sure you're excited as well. With Ohio State being a school that is going to be there on Friday, along with 3 Buckeye football players, there are questions I'm going to have for Ryan Day coming up tomorrow, and I'll relay them in the episode as well. But Big Ten Media Days ramps up talking season. We're going to get a lot of our questions answered. And maybe we're going to have more questions to ask in regards to what is going on with each situation. But it's a great time of year. End of July 22nd, 23rd. Next week is the NBA draft. Will Dwayne Washington Jr. get drafted? That's TBD, to be determined, but would be amazing if he gets drafted and if he is able to have a sustainable career in the NBA. I've already relayed my thoughts about that. We'll talk more about that next week because I do think that's very, very specific in regards to Dwayne Washington Jr. and the decision that he made. Also, shortly after that, fall camp starts. Talk about talking season, baby. You got the media days, you got the draft, and then boom, boom, boom. Fall camp starts. This is an amazing time of year. It's amazing for football fans. It's amazing for people in the media. It's amazing for the coaches and the players who are the focus of everything we're talking about. July, baby. Normally, July is vacation time. Some people are going on vacation. Sometimes people are getting ready for school. But for fans like us, you can get through everything else going on in life by focusing on your football and saying, well, I know what's going on. I know I got kids. I know I got to work. I know I got a wife. I know I got a girlfriend. I know I got a boyfriend. I know I got a husband, whatever you got. I know I got all these things going on. But football's right around the corner. September 2nd is going to be here before you know it. And the Big Ten Media Days is kind of like the kickoff for all of that. Speaking of a kickoff, tomorrow during the Big Ten kickoff for the football, Kevin Warren will be speaking. I have 5 questions for Kevin Warren. What are they? Stick around to find out. But first, check this out. This episode is brought to you by Rock Auto. With the ever-increasing numbers of makes and models, it's now impossible for your local chain auto parts store to stock all the parts you need. Why endure often pointless or seemingly intimidating questioning and wait while the person behind the counter orders the parts on their computer, choosing the only brand their warehouse happens to carry? You have computers with access to rockauto.com at home and in your pocket. Save time and money when using Rock Auto. Why choose to spend 30%, 50%, even 100% more for the same parts from a chain store or car dealership? Rock Auto is a family business serving do-it-yourselfers for over 20 years. Rock Auto prices are reliably low for every customer. Go explore their easy-to-use website today to find the solution to your auto part needs. Go to rockauto.com right now and see all the parts available for your car or truck. Right, Locked On in their How Did You Hear About Us box so they know we sent you. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need. rockauto.com. And as we roll on and continue today's episode, if this is your first time enjoying the podcast, I want to say welcome. Or if this is your first time in a long time, I want to say welcome back. Locked On Buckeyes drops a fresh new episode for you every Monday through Friday. We're going to take a quick hiatus from our road trip around the NFL, Buckeye road trip around the NFL. Pick that back up again next week, where we're highlighting former Buckeyes and the expectations for them in the upcoming NFL season. So you don't miss a thing. Tomorrow's episode or anything going on in the future, subscribe. The Odyssey app, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your fine podcasts. YouTube.com/Locked On Buckeyes. We're really close to hitting our subscription goal by the beginning of the Big Ten Media Days. I will give you until Kevin Warren takes the podium. I believe that begins at 10:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. The goal is 100 subscriptions. By that time, I'll be excited. You'll hear about it on Friday because I'm sure we'll hit our goal because Buckeye fans, you guys always come through. Kevin Warren, people have been critical of KW. I have as well. Now, will I get up to, if I ask him a question at Big Ten Media Days, will I get up and say, hey, KW? No, I will not do that. I mean, there are levels to this. There's a time and a place. I am not on the level to go ahead and give him a nickname just yet, especially I'm not giving nobody a nickname the first time I meet them. Well, I might, but not in that type of setting. I'm not going to go the route that the reporter went and the writer went when he already was doing something that the individual that he was interviewing didn't really want him to do, and he walked out. I'm not calling Kevin Warren KW. Some of y'all might be like, Jay, go ahead and do it. No, baby. That battle is not one Jay is trying to fight. But Kevin Warren was under a lot of scrutiny last year. Kevin Warren was someone that he was thrust into a situation that I don't even think that anybody would hope for anybody to be thrust into that situation as soon as they get a new job. Longtime commissioner Jim Delaney steps away. He retires. Kevin Warren comes in, and bam, you immediately see a lot of the things that would happen to a lot of people because they're indecisive about the decisions that they're going to make. I believe that's a lot of what happened. He was just indecisive. When you're indecisive in the way that Kevin Warren was, you get exactly what happened last year. Well, Jay has 5 questions. The last one is very, very nice, kind of a softball, kind of a let's have some fun this year. The first one, no horsing around, no beating around the bush. Jay's getting right to the subject. Question number 1 for Kevin Warren. How will the Big Ten handle COVID-19 this season? If you're a big-time college football fan, if you don't focus on Ohio State-centric and you have been hearing rumblings about things going on in the SEC or the ACC, you may have heard that Commissioner Greg Sankey of the SEC made some comments about how the conference is going to focus on the COVID. Now, I am curious. Because to date, I don't believe there is any concrete data or any concrete rules and regulations as far as how the conference is going to regulate what's going to happen in regards to the COVID-19. Will there be daily testing? Will there be periodic testing? Will there be testing for vaccinated and unvaccinated players? Will it be something like the NFL where the NFL says if you're an unvaccinated player, you will have different rules, very strict rules, more strict than anything that people would ever want than those that are vaccinated. These are questions. These are real questions. These are not just things that people make up. These are things that if I'm a player, let me go a little bit further. If I'm a parent, imagine a D. Scott Sr. trying to help his son along the way with what it is that his son's might have to go through during the season. And right before fall camp, or right before media days, Mr. Jr., D. Scott Sr. saying, well, how am I supposed to prep my son and help my son prepare for the season if I don't even know what the COVID-19 protocol is for the conference? These are real situations. These are real questions. And I think Kevin Warren, I surely hope this young man has a plan, because that might be one of the first questions somebody asks. Question number 2, what is the plan of action for when we have another pandemic? Over the past 20 years, I think it's been something in regards to a virus that has taken over, got a lot of attention. Every 2 or 3 years, at least every 4 years, normally that election year, it does come up. What's the plan of action for the next time this comes up? The next time a virus dominates the conversation on the television? Because, Mr. Kevin Warren, it's going to happen again. Certain things in life are inevitable. They're inevitable. They're bound to happen. Here's an easy one. If you eat right and you exercise, you're going to feel a whole lot better than if you ate bad and didn't exercise. Self-explanatory. It's inevitable. It's bound to happen. So Mr. Kevin Warren, Jay Stevens, has a question for you. what is your plan of action for the next time a pandemic happens in the US of A? If you haven't thought about that question, I'm really surprised. I don't know who your advisors are, but maybe you want to ramp some things up, because I surely hope you're ready for that question, because that may come up as well. Question number 3, how do you think playoff expansion will affect the conference in the next 5 to 10 years? Playoff expansion is something that you're hearing a lot of coaches come out and say. I heard Mac Brown on the radio, Sirius XM College, or ESPNU radio, whatever the Sirius XM, whatever that radio station is. I got a preset in my car. Okay, so the expansion. Mac Brown said, well, his players aren't really for it. And even the 12-game expansion to the playoff, they're not for it. There are other coaches that come out and said, Mike Leach, well, yeah, I'm for 12. How about we do 64? Is that the only way your school will be able to make the expansion, make the playoff? If there's a 64-team playoff, that's very likely. I'm making before 64. Sorry, 48. 40, seems to be a little joking around. But you get the point. How do you think you specifically, as a leader of the voice of this conference, a leader of this conference, how do you think expansion will affect the conference over the next 5 to 10 years? Question number 4, will you consider adding or subtracting teams from the conference? Now, I do think it's more the addition versus the subtraction, the former, not the latter, simply because in the era that we're in, where money rules a lot of the decision that people are making, and that they don't really care about the personal feelings or the moral or the ethics about situations. It's all about give me more money, stretch our footprint. When the Big Ten went from their current 10 or the previous 10 now to 14, now they're at Penn State, they go up to Rutgers, they got Maryland, they got Nebraska. I mean, they're trying to stretch the footprint out, not be so much the Midwest centric, spread that thing out completely. And we've also heard rumblings, or if you have not heard, there is rumblings that Texas and Oklahoma have sought out to get information about possibly joining the SEC. Now, that would be a first super conference, assuming they don't take anybody away. That'd be the first super conference that has been rumbling. There has been conversation about that for quite a long time. Curious, Mr. Warren, will you consider adding teams for the conference? Last but not least, what are you looking forward to this season? Remember I said there was a question to come in here, trying to make sure that when he leaves you on a high note, a good note. That's that one, Mr. Kevin. It's the sandwich method. Now, this is not the sandwich method, but the sandwich method in a conversation, when you're trying to help somebody, scold somebody, maybe give them something nice up front, hit them right where you want to hit them in the middle, and then give them something softball, something nice at the end to leave them really, really happy about the conversation. Same thing here. Just I didn't have a softball up front. Had to hit him with a hard hitter, because that might be one of the most important questions anybody has for Kevin Warren right now at Big Ten Media Days. Let's step away very quickly. When we come back, we continue our quarterback competition look and diving into that situation. Today is all about Kyle McCord. Tomorrow, we find out who I think who many people think QB1 will be. But first, check this out. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your sports action. Baseball season is in full swing, and you can track all the action at BetOnline. Get all the latest news, odds, and info for all your sporting needs, including MLB, NBA, NHL, and all your UFC/MMA action. Before the next pitch, head over to betonline.ag on your laptop or mobile device and check out all the great sporting news, sign-up bonuses, and contest information. Don't sit on the sidelines anymore, as this is your chance to get into the game as teams prep for their runs to the playoffs. Head to betonline.ag on your laptop or mobile device to sign up today. And when you do, make sure you use promo code LOCKEDON, LOCKEDON, and it's all one word, and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, your online sports book experts. And as we continue and wrap up today's episode here of Locked On Buckeyes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Tuesday, Jack Miller III. Wednesday was all about Mr. C.J. Stroud. And today it's all about the newcomer, the freshman, Mr. Kyle McCord. When you're a freshman at any school, at any time, you are excited because you can, especially in a competition like this, you can change everybody's opinion. You could wow a lot of people, and you could be an individual that is going to focus on your craft, forget about what everybody else is saying, because you have nothing to lose. Kyle McCord stands at 6'3", 210 pounds, from Philadelphia, PA, from St. John's Prep. He's a freshman. He's a teammate, the former and current teammate of Mr. Marvin Harrison Jr. Here are some highlights about Kyle McCord straight from OhioStateBuckeyes.com. He was the nation's number 25 ranked player, regardless of position, and number 3 ranked quarterback. A 5-star prospect, according to 247 Sports, helped St. John's Prep win its 3rd consecutive state championship last fall, through 6 touchdowns in the 6A semifinal, and then follow that up with a 21 for 28, 336-yard performance with 4 TDs in the title game versus Central York. Set city and league records for career passing yards, 6,887, and touchdown passes, 88. Member of the 2020 Pennsylvania Max Preps All-State team, passed for 2,399 yards and 31 touchdowns as a junior before an injury sidelined him for the final 4 games of the season. Won the starting job at St. Joseph's Prep as a sophomore and had 2,883 yards with 38 touchdowns while completing 66.5% of his passes. When I look at some of these things, and I've done some search before on Joe Burrow about the type of quarterback that he was, I don't mean to say this and be like, you're becoming prisoner of the moment. But as I'm reading some of those stats, they're not as as eye-popping as Joe Burrow's are, but those are stats of your average quarterback. There's even a lot of 5-star quarterbacks that are in this class or even previous classes. They don't do what Kyle McCord did in high school. So what makes him so special? We talked about, highlighted one thing that Jack Miller does. I think he knows it very, very well. Very, very well. CJ Stroud, we talked about something with him as well. Kyle McCord, his arm is not the average arm of an individual that is a quarterback, that is a freshman at a program like the Ohio State University. You could say, Jay, well, DJ Uiagalelei from Clemson, when he came in and Trevor Lawrence wasn't able to play due to the COVID. Well, DJU, I can say his name all day long. I just don't want to keep doing that. But DJ Uiagalelei, I had to do it one more time. When he came in, he had 400 yards against Notre Dame, and they had Kyle Hamilton, future first-round pick, maybe first top 5 pick in the upcoming NFL draft. I mean, they have a lot of dudes at Clemson. So does DJU and does Kyle McCord, do they have the same kind of arm? I think their arm is pretty. I haven't seen DJU play enough to do that, but I do think if you're trying to say, is Kyle McCord, can he sling the ball around the yard? Oh, yeah. Stats don't do it justice. I firmly believe that there's a good chance that Kyle McCord has the best arm of any of the 3 gentlemen that are fighting for the QB1 spot on the depth chart at Ohio State right now. Jack Miller can sling it. Stroud can sling it. McCord can sling it. What does McCord do well? Kyle McCord, I believe, his ability to just maneuver and make the right pass, and really his arm strength, it's next level. It's not something now. You're going to say, Jay, well, Fields had a strong arm. Stroud has a strong arm. All these guys have strong arms. But there's something special about when I see Kyle McCord throw the football, that it's special. Many of you may have seen Quinn Ewers, the number 1 overall recruit in the 2022 recruiting class. I believe Quinn Ewers, yes, he is special, but I don't know if the way that Kyle McCord throws the ball, I'm not saying if Quinn Ewers comes in, he's automatically going to jump McCord on the depth chart. I don't believe it's going to happen. I don't think Ewers is going to start right away when he gets to Ohio State, no matter what. No, I don't. If there's a transfer route, I don't matter. If 2 guys transfer out, I still don't think Ewers is QB1 as soon as he steps on campus. Just like with TreVeyon Henderson, I have never, ever believed that Henderson is RB1 at any point throughout this season. I have not. I know many people say it's going to happen. Just because you're really talented, all these guys are really talented. The high school ranks being talented, to transferring it to the NFL, wrong level, to the college ranks, it's very, very hard. Kyle McCord's arm strength is very, very good. It's next level. He can make all the throws, and I do think there'll be throws that he can make more consistently than it is that other people can make, Stroud or Miller. And his accuracy in high school, now you say, Jay, 66.5%. Is that good? Well, how about this? Let's do some simple math. Small fractions. I gave you 3 throws. He's going to get hit 2 out of 3 every single time. That third one could be the easiest one. It just could be a drop. It could be an overthrow, a slightly, not like it's going to happen, slightly overthrown ball. But he's getting 2 out of 3 every single time. Now, if Kyle McCord was a guy that was, let's say, 60%, I'm going to round up to 66. 66 is easily. It's right there, 2/3. I would go down to say, well, 1.5. 1.5 times he's going to get it out of 3, not 2. Kyle McCord is consistently going to get 2 out of 3 every single time. Now, that does translate to being very, very accurate and being a key piece and a vital part of Ryan Day's offense, where the arm strength of the quarterback and the arm ability of the quarterback and the ability for the quarterback to read and react very, very well, that's something that Ryan Day puts an emphasis on. Also, you can look at the spring game and say, well, Jay, the spring game told me this. This is how I'm going to rank the quarterbacks. I think this is a close race between Stroud and McCord right now. Sorry, Miller. I do believe that it's going to be a close race, and it still is a close race between McCord and Stroud due to the arm that they possess and the skills that they possess between reading, pre-snap, post-snap verification, and the way they can process things. I believe it's very, 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 very close. McCord is not your average freshman. Stroud's not your average redshirt freshman. In this race, I firmly believe, because of the accuracy, the arm strength, and the ability to sling that ball around all the time, I do believe this is going to be a battle that in camp will be very, very fierce. Guys, this has been fun. A lot of fun. Tomorrow is today, recording on Wednesday. Today, the day you're listening to this episode, is the Big Ten Media Days. Jay will be there. Follow me on Twitter at JSteven07. We'll try to have so much coverage and a lot of tweets coming your way all the time to keep you up to date with what's going on at the Big Ten Media Days. One more reminder, there's a challenge for you. Go to youtube.com, search Locked On Buckeyes, hit that subscribe button, trying to get to 100 subscriptions by the time that Kevin Warren steps up to the podium to speak at the Big Ten Media Days, which is 10:15 Eastern Standard Time. If you have multiple YouTube accounts, or you have people in your family that have a YouTube account, go to their phone, go to their tab, or go to their computer. Just do it for them. Subscribe. They'll greatly appreciate it. And Jay will as well. You know what else will be enjoyable that we can all enjoy together? It's going on right now. Yes, the time of this recording, and will be going on tomorrow while you're listening to this episode. It is the Ultimate Mock Draft 2021, which is presented by Locked On and Odyssey. It is featuring analysis from the GOAT of NBA mock drafts, Chad Ford, and Odyssey NBA experts Brian Scalabrine and former general manager Ryan McDonough. Our Locked On NBA local experts will make selections and trades for your favorite basketball teams throughout this week-long special event. Search the Ultimate Mock Draft 2021 on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcast. Odyssey is your audio home for all the sports news, for all the sports, podcasts, music, and news that matter to you. That's AUDACY.